me if I'm wrong. Yesterday it was just opening ceremony and concert, and then today has just been this? Okay. So I've been to everything. That's good. So, I have a lot of things that I like to talk about. I brought a prop and then I forgot it. But that's okay. I was in my hotel lobby waiting for the taxi this morning, and there was an article, a front page cover story in Forbes magazine, business magazine, on YouTube and how YouTube is changing the world, and it's so a big deal. And I read the first, couple pages, and then I stole it from the hotel. And I was, I'm super into that world, of course. Online video is how I make my money. I also feel like it's pretty important and maybe going to change the world a lot. So I'm obsessed with it. But sometimes I think I get really obsessed with online video because I know all about it, and I feel like I can understand how it might change the world because there's so many opportunities and so many little things that I understand about it. But, probably if I understood something else, anything else really, at that level of detail, I would feel the same kind of passion about it, the same kind of interest in it, especially if it, sort of was surrounded by the level of coolness that I'm constantly surrounded by. Thanks for that. So I get concerned that maybe I'm spending all my time thinking about online video, which is not curing malaria, and not sending people to Mars, and blah, 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 blah. Bill Gates was just like, Google's thing, they're putting internet on balloons so that everybody in the developing world can have internet, but that is not going to cure malaria. And I was like, true fact, yes, internet won't cure malaria. I don't think that you could I don't think you could download that, though maybe someday. But there's a lot of ways to make the world a better place. And I kind of feel like, hey, Bill, they're doing something. Sometimes people say to me, I've had this question asked to me before, how do you know that the charity you're giving money to is a good place for your money for charity? And I'm like, well, what are you gonna do with it otherwise, right? If the choices are, give money to charity or buy a Coca-Cola, then this option is always going to be a better option for the world, even though Coca-Colas are super delicious. So I'm like, there's first step, giving money is always better. There may be, in the charity pile, some places that are going to have more effect than other places, other ways to spend your money, but it's always going to be better than, once you have your essential services taken care of, this pile, which is where we all spend most of our money, because it's the fun way, and I really like, fancy Indian food. Thanks, by the way, London, for all your fancy Indian food. We don't have a lot of that in Montana. So these are things that I've been thinking about. Mostly that I think I spend so much of my time thinking about online video, and I get concerned that maybe I'm not spending enough time thinking about bigger issues that maybe you are concerned about or interested in as the people who watch my videos, and maybe that the world is more interested in or could be more affected by. So, I wanted to ask what you guys want me to talk about. Because I just did this part, which is the part that I prepared. And now is the part that I have absolutely no control over, and I am fairly good at pulling crap out of my butt and talking for a long time. So I was wanting to ask if people had something that wanted me to talk about. So, there's already a hand up, right here in the road. What? How's Alice? She's adorable. She cries a lot. I spent She's actually super well behaved. We slept in the same house as Alice for about a week, and I'll tell you that Henry was much more the problem when it came to the sleeping. So he'd be like, "Why are you not playing?" "Because I'm asleep. I can't play while I'm asleep." And he'd be like, eventually, we were downstairs, and they'd have Henry upstairs, and he couldn't come down, and then he would just run around angrily, which was just as bad because there was just wood on the floor, nothing in between, so it just. Catherine's laughing right now. She's standing behind this black thing. I did not lie. She isn't back there. Yeah, it was not a vacation. Neither has this been really a vacation. I've decided that vacations are for suckers. What you really gotta do is go all over the world and never stop doing stuff. Sleeping more than 5 hours a night. Ha! Yeah, I mean, anybody who's a parent, I always complain about how little I sleep to all my friends who have 1-year-old children, and they just look at me with these eyes, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's very strange to not have kids and have all your friends have kids, because their experiences of life become much different than yours, and they. Yes. Suddenly you say things that you think are completely innocuous, like, "Man, I'm so tired. I slept like 7 hours last night." And they're like, 7? Did you uninterrupted, like with no breaks? And I'm like, okay. Next. See how I can just talk forever? I don't need. Yes, in the white. My biggest accomplishment thus far? Oh God. Oh man. I made this really funny joke one time. Catherine liked that more than anyone. But I'm wondering if she knows which joke I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really hard question. I wish I had a kid, so I had the easy out. It's off the top of my head. Well, that joke was pretty funny. Okay, so we were at a planning session for VidCon 2012. Catherine's like, "Don't tell this story." I love this joke so much. And it's like, so I'll go fast. We've been in this meeting for like 18 hours. I am exhausted. Everyone is exhausted. We're going over the budgets. We're going over all the guests, making sure everybody's happy, making sure we've crossed all our T's and dotted all our I's, and we're just making sure everything from VidCon 2012 is going to be fantastic. So we're like 2 months out from VidCon. We're all in this room in Anaheim, and it's like stuffy, and people are falling unconscious. It's basically terrible. And Carver, who's the guy who he really is the life behind VidCon. He does all of the work, the hard parts of the work, and he's, slide after slide after slide of PowerPoint. And every once in a while, Carver will get an email, and in the bottom corner, a thing will pop up, and it will be like, a thing that Carver has to take care of, because it happens to him 200 times a day, and he's amazing. And so, I can see the email that Carver's getting, and this is interesting to me because I see sort of behind the scenes of what it's like to be Carver, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, oh, I could send Carver an email, and it would just show up there. And so I lean forward and I write a quick email, and then I push send, and I lean back against the wall, it's going to happen soon. And I've completely stopped paying attention to anything. And I'm just like, this is going to be the best thing. Oh my God. And the anticipation inside of me is growing, and I'm in a chair like this, and I'm leaned back against the wall, and I'm you know. And then it pops up, and the subject line is, it says, from Hank Green, and the subject is, fart, fart, fart. And like, first Monica Carr sees it, and then like, everybody else starts to see what's happening, and everybody's laughing, and Carver's like in the middle of the slide presentation, he's like, what? 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 And that's, I think, probably the funniest joke I've ever made in my life. So now sometimes when I'm just bored, and I'll be like, fart, fart, fart. Fart, fart, fart. So if you ever see me just say fart, 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 that's why. That was a terrible answer to your question. Thanks. Yes. What do I think of Edward Snowden and the whole situation with Russia? Oh God, this is definitely a video. I think I need to know more. I think that it's very complicated. I think that the United States government has a hard time being like, someone has committed treason, and then being like, never mind. That's hard. That's a hard thing to do once you've decided and you've like said then you can't back off that, treason, man. But it's very complicated because treason used to be, you're being paid by the Russians to give away state secrets and no one's gonna ever find out. And now, like instead of basically betraying the government for another government or for money, he's betraying the government for his values, which is a very different sort of thing. And even are we sure that this is even a betrayal of our government in America, which none of you have to worry about too much, though I guess everybody does. So I have been following it, but not to the depth where I feel like I'm ready to make a video about it, which is super complicated. And like, it's complicated by the fact that Russia is kind of being a bitch right now with, gay rights, and then there's the Stephen Fry is totally amazing, you guys. Thanks for him. I know you guys didn't have too much to do with Stephen Fry, but so yeah, I don't know where I come down yet. I am super concerned about. I think here's what it comes down to, if you look at it a little bit complexly, is that world governments are extremely concerned about the future where anyone has access to a weapon that can do a humongous amount of damage. And that, that lack of control for a government is terrifying. And so you look at every alternative possible to, like, how is it possible to control that? And then instead of having to control groups of people, you have to control individual people. That's terrifying. I would rather, frankly, there be one asshole every once in a while who can kill a bunch of people than for all of us to have to be controlled individually forever. That's how I feel. And it feels like, from a lot of government's perspective, like that's the only way to really solve that problem. The other solution is to not solve the problem and just say, well, sometimes assholes are going to kill people, and as long as bombs and guns and, anthrax are available, that's going to happen every once in a while. But mostly we're very nice humans. Mostly. And there's not a lot of, the Russian dash cam thing? In Russia, everybody has a camera on their dash because of insurance reasons, and so you always see, in Russia, these terrifying things happening. It was like a semi-truck overturns on the freeway and 1,000 cows spill out. It's just amazing thing that would ever be captured otherwise. And the meteorite was amazing as well. He got that captured. But there's a video online of not just the terrible things that happen and are captured by Russian dash cams that you might find in the dark corners of the internet, but the amazing and beautiful and wonderful things, like the people stopping their cars and helping the old Russian lady across the street, or picking up a kitten and being like, "Oh, kitten, oh, you're in the street. Oh, sorry." And so that video isn't amazing until you start to string them together. And so you see one video of a Russian guy taking a kitten up out of the street, and you're like, ah. But then you take all of the videos that were like, just this guy was able to compile, and you're like, oh, look at people being beautiful. And it feels good. So, you guys have fun. No, the guy behind you had his hand up first. How do I think 3D printing is going to change the world? What an amazing topic. I have no freaking idea. Just let me know when I can print a pizza, though, and or corn dogs. And I'm told I'll be there for that. It's super interesting, and it does appear to be where a lot of people are thinking, like, that's the thing that's going to make the next big change in the world. And I'm not sure that I agree, but I'm willing to accept that they are probably smarter than I am. Yes, Pizza John Shirt, who I just ignored. If Brotherhood 2.0 didn't exist, I think I would probably not be doing this, which is sad. Poor that guy. I have no idea. It's been so long now. It's been 6 or 7 years, so I would have had a completely different career trajectory. I'd probably still be writing. I probably would be a journalist. Probably be writing about, when I started this, I was writing about green technology, and I was kind of burned out on it, to be honest. I was tired of, sensationalist headlines and not being able to get views without, basically lying and watching all of my colleagues in that space do that in order to get the views. So I was kind of sick of that, but I was and am, a good reporter, and so I probably would be, hopefully, employed doing that, even though that is a super hard thing to be employed doing, especially now, which I'm sorry about what the internet did to journalism. I'm not sorry about what the internet is doing to television now, because, Yes. We're asking, so we have someone who's allergic to bees and wasps. She wants to know, what's the point of wasps? It's easy to think, what's the point of X? Like mosquitoes are terrible and they kill, hundreds of millions of people every year. So why? To feed bats is something I hear people say sometimes. You have to have food for bats. Bats are nice, they're cute, depending on who you are. I think they're cute anyway. A lot of people don't. And so yes, bats, you need this, but there's no point. There's no goal of ecology. There's no ladder that we're walking up. There's no end point. There's no, yes, there's diversity and there's a structure that if you disrupt one piece, then it can disrupt further pieces, but the world is, ecologically constantly changing, and we fret over invasive species and extinctions, but these things have happened forever and for always. Mount St. Helens is a tiny example of, this is a volcano in America that erupted in 1980, a tiny example of the kind of disruption that can occur, massive disruption, but so many more, much larger things can occur and have huge impacts on the ecology of a place, and then it just comes back. It's so amazing. I'm in awe of how life works and how it functions, how it grows and changes constantly. And so, yes, wasps, not really. They're not useful for us. Probably if wasps all vanished from the earth tomorrow, it would have ecological consequences, but, someone else would come in and fill that niche, because that's what that's how ecology works. But, yeah, I'm sorry, but they serve no purpose, but that does not mean that they are not worthwhile and that they should stop existing. We should all, next time you see one, just say, I understand, I see you, wasps. I understand that the purpose that you fill is your own purpose, not any other person's, not any other thing's purpose. And that is okay. And then you can cuddle them. just grab the whole nest and they'll understand that you're being supportive. And it will be like, yeah, you might die. Yes. Any advice if you're starting a YouTube channel? What's your YouTube channel going to be about? Vlogs and songs and stuff? What do you want to have happen? So, yeah, that is pretty cool. She wants to start a YouTube channel doing vlogs and songs and stuff, and she wants people to like it. That sounds like a pretty common, like a goal. That sounds like a nice goal. So start in 2007. That's going to be your starting point, because that way you can figure out, you can use all the easy ways to get views that don't exist anymore, and you can grow with the site. But I mean, I'm not saying that now isn't a good time to start, because it is still a very quickly growing place. But if you look at anybody's tricks that people are talking about, like, here's how I grew my audience, it's like, yeah, but that doesn't work anymore because that was then, and this is now, and the YouTube has fixed that little hack that you were exploiting. In general, I think right now, in order to, catch on, which is a shame. Okay, backing up a little bit. There's two types of audience. There's your audience who are there for the content because you're, doing woodworking, and you're like, this is how you make a cabinet. And those people are just there to learn how to make a cabinet. They don't care about you. But then, if you make a cabinet and you're interesting and you're funny and you're super hot, not wearing a shirt, then people, Jack and Finn making cabinets. And then people start to see the content for the creator, not just for the content. So there's these two types of things, and what I do, I'm very lucky in that I get to make content, like, it's very personality focused, it's very much whatever I'm into I can do that will still seem like part of the thing, because I'm me, and I'm into this thing, and if you're not, that's okay, because you're seeing it through my eyes, and it's about our personality as John and Hank Green, which is, we're super lucky to have that. But to get there is very difficult, because you have to get people to care about who you are. And I don't know why these people, why do you guys care about me? Like, I understand, but like, a lot of people are really awesome. Thank you. And I don't actually expect you to answer that question, because like, who knows where care comes from? Humans, we're weird. And so, but that's what I've been seeing lately, is that people sort of have to start out with content that will get people in there for the content's sake, and then lace it with the personality, because then they come back not for the content, because the internet is an infinite pool of content. There's a lot of guys teaching you how to make cabinets, and ladies as well. Then if they see that and they like the person, then they come back for the person. So that's a difficult thing to do, because you have to make like high quality stuff that people really want to see and will share with their friends, because the share is the sort of metric, like the currency of internet, and then you have to make them like you. So like, God only knows, how did I make people like me? I don't know. Like, I couldn't do it in high school, that's for sure. Yeah. Yes. What do I think about Honey Boo Boo and shows like that? Can you watch Honey Boo Boo in the UK? Yeah. Oh no. That's terrible news. To be honest, I've seen like 4 minutes of Honey Boo Boo in my life, so when I saw, I was like, they look like a family that loves each other, and yeah, they are weird and they have a strange culture that I'm not familiar with, but they seem like okay people. but yeah, I mean, I hope that you don't watch any particular piece of content about a particular place or ethnicity or culture and try to apply that to all of the constituents of that place or ethnicity or culture. So yeah, I mean, like I'm not super concerned about. I mean, I'm sure that there are some people all over the world, and even in America, who have a very simplified view of what America is. And that's okay. We're doing all right in America. It's, we're, the biggest, most important, awesomest place ever. So we don't care what you think. So that's, we got like canyons and stealth bombers. We carved some guys into a mountain. You guys don't know that. It's a whole mountain. It's just guys' faces. But do you have that? You do. It's probably smaller than the one in America, though. What? Oh yeah, we have castles. They were built in like 1980. They're made of styrofoam and plexiglass, but they're bigger than yours. Have you ever been to Disney? Basically a castle. Down on the floor here in front. The current what? Oh yeah, I live in Montana where Native Americans actually live. I just saw on Reddit a Chris Rock's routine in which he's like, nobody has it as bad, like no ethnicity has it as bad as the American Indian. Because you never see two American Indians in the same place, because there just aren't enough of them. But that's not true in Montana. We have lots of Native Americans, and they have a fantastic and beautiful culture. And so, I feel like in California, they literally do not realize that there are still Native Americans. And so they're like, oh yeah, Johnny Depp, that'll do. I mean, where are we gonna find a Native American? Right? Why don't we have it? But yeah, I mean, I think that is super problematic. And the fact that no one, at Disney, which is not an institution known for its risk-taking, thought about that is super problematic. And in general, Hollywood blockbuster movies are really boring now. There is not a lot being done that's at all interesting, except for this new movie called Fault in Our Stars. Yeah. Yes. Michael Aranda? Yeah, I hope Michael Aranda comes back to visit us at Hank Games HQ. That would be nice. I like him. We have not had a lot of time to play video games lately. Sorry, honey. But I'm excited about some new Christmas time games that are coming out. In fact, one is coming out very shortly. I can't remember which one it is, or it's already come out, something I really want to play for Hank Games. I'm excited about Pikmin 3. I'm a big fan of that game, and I want to get really drunk and play it. Yeah. How will what will? The vlogumentary. Wow, you guys are up to date. So the vlogumentary is a documentary film being made by Corey Vidal and Shay Carl about YouTube. How is it going to affect YouTube and YouTube creators is an interesting question, because I don't think that's a question that a lot of people would ask, but I think it will have an effect. Here's what I've seen in online video in the past 7 years. People started doing it, and it was a path to something else. Because we, as humans, we like to imagine our futures, and we place ourselves in a story that we've heard before. And so you see this, the story of, a famous person who's, I couldn't think of a famous person. They're famous, that's the whole point, that you can think of them. And so you want to insert yourself into that person's story and walk their path, because they're your hero, right? So I watched